We'll call the meeting to order of the Board of Directors of the Sweetwater Enterprise for Economic Development Municipal Development District of Sweetwater, Texas, Monday, March 8th, 2021, 10 a.m. And it's good to all be here in person. So call the meeting to order. Dr. Peak, if you'll open us with a prayer.
Please join me. Gracious Heavenly Father, we just pause and come before you, Lord, with hearts that are filled with joy and also filled with thanksgiving. Lord, we thank you for the way that you protect us and bless us, and that those are both unending and always there for us. Lord, I lift all the families represented in this room up before you. And I lift our city, our state, and our nation before you. Lord, help us be good stewards of the resources you have provided us with and good servants to this community. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Peak. Action item number 3, public comments and receipt of petitions. Are there any public comments at this time? Thank you. There being none, we'll move to item number 4. Catherine Wilkes will present the SEED MDD statements of cash receipts and disbursements. Thank you, Kathy, for being here.
You're welcome. I'll post the difference. I think that might be a better.
Yes.
Okay. All right, does everybody have
In tab 1,
one page?
worksheet, yes.
So you can see your cash receipts. This is cash basis, which you generally requested. So you can see the budget comparison. Your receipts were $76,751 more than you had budgeted.
Is there any way we can stop that from happening? Actually receive more than we've planned for? Get everybody to give me a weird look now.
Ken seeking early retirement.
Sales tax. We don't have much to say about sales tax.
Yep.
Okay, now I will say that as a reminder, the monies that are remitted back to Sutherland, those net. So you're not going to see those as a separate line item anywhere. It nets out sales tax revenue. Okay, cash disbursements. You were pretty much right on. You didn't spend as much in other contracted services as you had anticipated. And your travel with COVID was not quite as much as you had anticipated. But other than that, your incentives, you can see were $420,000 more than you had. I listed them, even though I know you get a report from the city that has vastly more detail. But I went ahead and listed just since we're talking back September, the numbers that we were talking about. So as a reminder of all the community projects that you did. I'll say that. I misspoke. The Sutherland lumber of the 10,210 is down here in incentives.
So the sales tax is gross. It
The
has
sales
everything.
tax is gross.
Okay, gotcha.
And those are the highlights. I'd be happy to go over anything else in more detail. For these numbers, your component unit of the city of Sweetwater, and those numbers are reported there. You're audited just like the city is audited. And of course, that's on a GAAP presentation, but that'll be presented to the city council tomorrow.
Okay. And now in the future, we will be a part of the city's audit. Is that correct?
No, you are part of the
I mean,
city.
we always are, but in
You
the,
always have been and you will continue to be.
okay, but in the future, we won't need a separate cash receipts and disbursements
It's entirely up to you.
report. Oh, we haven't talked about that yet.
Well,
Or,
She did a separate audit report in the past for us, or
That's correct. But I
yes, but
highly
going
just
forward.
highly encouraged by my peer reviewer not to do that anymore.
okay, that's good to know.
So, yeah, he said, do a worksheet, don't have the financial statement titles and don't do notes.
Okay,
And that's what I sent, I believe, everyone an email about, and it was kind of an agreement.
okay.
And you may not want me to come at all. I mean, you're getting a cash receipts and disbursements from the city.
Okay.
On a monthly basis, so that's entirely,
Well, we like seeing you, but
Mhm.
I
if
like
we-
being here, so I mean, if there-
you can just come to our meeting. No.
I would
would
love to,
it-
but if there's anything you want me to come and, or go, the problem is they're backwards. We could have gone over some of the audit if you had wanted to, but it hasn't been approved.
Right. Yep.
So we can, how do you want to do
It's
it?
all
I'll-
good.
I'll come and tell you anything you want to know.
Okay, that sounds great. Like a good
Which leads
plan
me
for
into
the
my
future.
question. If
Okay.
there was an anomaly in the audit, when would that, or how would that be reported to this board?
If it had to do with C,
Correct.
it would be reported to the city first and then to this board when it was found. And then depending on what it was, and then it would walk forward remediation or, if it's fraud, then you
Mhm.
obviously you have to steps.
Certainly. So as a precursor, I don't even know if you can address this question, but is there any concerns at this time, to your knowledge, regarding the audit of the seed books?
No.
Very
No,
good.
not at all. You would have been told about that.
Okay.
If I've had any concern. They certainly would have been communicated with Patty. Even in internal control issues, your internal control, because they do your everything, is tested with the city. So
Very
it's
good.
all on the same level of testing. So, okay.
Thank you, Ms.
Sounds
Phillips.
great, Kathy. Yeah,
All right.
we're in good hands, I think. So
Mhm.
double good hands. So,
Everything's thoroughly reviewed. Let me just say that.
yes.
Okay.
Anyone have any questions?
And just a quick reminder, there are ED organizations out there that run their own checkbook. They're, in fact, the ED actually writes his own payroll check. There are the ones out there that do completely separate from the city. So we like the transparency of what we do because it's looked at by so many different hands.
Yes.
We're blessed to have that working relationship with everybody involved. So thank you.
And yes, I mean, you get the HR, you get all of the side benefits of that. So I think it's a great deal. Okay. All right.
All right, thank you,
so
Kathy, very
Appreciate
much.
you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate
See you in the morning.
it. One more time. Okay, everybody ready to move on to our action items? 5A, board to review and consider approving the minutes of the February 8th, 2021 meeting.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the minutes of the February 8th, 2021 meeting be approved. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Action item 5B, board to review and consider approving payment of accounts payable.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that the accounts payable are paid. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, no. Thank you. The ayes have it with one abstention, and the motion is carried. Action item 5C, board to review and consider approving the January 2021 financial statements.
Okay. If you'll flip to page 5, it shows you our balance sheet for the period ending January 31st of 2021. There's nothing really out of the normal there. Our designated funds increased slightly, but the big increase was at last month's due to GP. If you'll turn to our page number 6, you'll see the statement of revenues and expenditures. As you go down to the year-to-date actual as compared to the budget item, you'll see our website on the marketing and advertising expenses. Our website put that a little over because we've already paid full amount for that. You'll see our administration fee. That's a one-time payment to the city. That's a little over budget because we pay for that at the beginning of the year. And a lot of our membership and due and subscription fees, we pay those at the beginning of the year. So those are always a little over budget starting out. If you will turn to page 7, you will see the reconciliation of our designated fund balance. There's not a lot really to point out. I do want to mention, and just so the rest of the board, Carolyn is aware of the issue. And I believe the issue has been resolved as I talked to Patty this morning. There was kind of a disagreement on a little bit of the Georgia Pacific payments and how those should be handled. And of course, Jeff Allen, we kind of turned it over to him and got him involved. But I believe the misunderstanding was that the city realized that we were going to take full amount, including CCN engineering expenses and legal expenses and all that we did prior to the interlocal agreement, and not, I guess, in regards to the actual construction of the pipeline. We were paying half of those invoices, and this board wanted those taken out of the 2.5 million, and there was just kind of a little, how are we supposed to account for this issue? But that has been resolved. Jeff was, very responsive to Patty, and I believe all that, to my knowing, has been resolved. So,
Yeah, thank you, Misha, for taking care.
and
Might
Getting
give you a
everybody
quick
on the same
update
page.
on,
How was that resolved?
Jeff Allen.
Well, no, I
is-
mean, my understanding was that the disagreement was on the legal fees incurred before this board made a decision to spend $2.5 million, and we made a decision to include legal fees in that. So up to that point, the city and Seed had been sharing, okay? And so is the Seed board reimbursing the city for that portion that the city had already paid, or are we just picking up at this point and going forward?
we had already paid those. We paid 50% of those. That was the $12,000 that the board wanted to be included that had already been paid.
That's what, okay, so in the interlocal agreement, it read that there was $12,700 or so that had already been paid in regards to Georgia Pacific. And the interlocal agreement, I believe, it's December, if you would like to turn to it, but it's in Article 3. It said this board will approve 2.5, or not to exceed 2.5 million, less the 12,700,
Okay.
whatever that was already in there. And so there was, and I understand where Patty was coming from it and how to account for extra expenses outside of the design and installation and everything, accounting wise. And so that should have been, but of course, she's going to account for it and do what she needs to do on her side. That's going to be her determination.
Okay.
But everything will come out of the 2.5 million.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Responsible. Uh-huh.
So
Then
thanks
just
for
a,
getting us all on the same
Oh.
page. Seriously, Misha,
Mhm.
that was really good.
Yes.
Good work doing that.
just quick update on Dent Trucking. Of course, we've been kind of guaranteeing a note for him. And that note now is down to $60,746.58. At one time, that was about $450,000. We only had an obligation of $300,000. But this current contract will run out in August of this year. So
Ken, what did you say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the dollar amount.
our liability on the Dent Trucking, we've
Right,
done
but
the
what was his
300,000. So
note balance?
we're down to $60,746.58.
That is good.
That is good.
Yeah, he's done a really good job of cleaning that up.
It's wonderful news.
And I believe his term expires on August 7th of 2021. So the rate he's paying, it should be paid off well before then.
Yeah.
If you'll turn to our sales tax charts, you'll see that we are not down as much as we were last month, but we're still down a little, 2.61%. And if you look across, that is still our third best month since, our third best February month since 2012. And I believe those account for Christmas, or Christmas expenditures in town. And you'll notice that I didn't provide y'all with unemployment numbers. Those are not available yet. So when those are available, I'll send them out on email. Pass those around. Unless there's questions.
Misha, you might just explain to the board how this fund balance report works. I really like it. And just how the amount dispersed this month ties back to the financial, just
Absolutely.
go through those columns just real quickly.
So, of course, you have your amount approved. That's the full amount that's approved for the project.
And those are all the outstanding projects at this point in time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then the amount dispersed to month should always match. If you'll look at your income statement, the incentives line item, the month total, that 10,000 always matches the amount dispersed this month, that 10,000 down there. Amount dispersed this year to date, that's just, and that ties to our fiscal year, not just year to date. Amount dispersed the project to date, that's our full amount on each project that's dispersed. And then our amount remaining is our obligation remaining. And so if you'll look back at the actual year to date, that 175 will also match the amount dispersed year to date. So it coordinates very well to our income statement.
And then
Balance does.
And then your obligation amount remaining is your designated fund balance on your
Correct.
balance sheet.
Yes, ma'am.
So. Anybody have any questions?
I appreciate the balancing that this report produces. That's a good report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move approval of financial statements.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the January 2021 financial statements. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. So we'll go to action item 5D, board to review and consider approving a facade improvement grant for 1408 East Broadway Street.
Okay, you'll have a copy of the facade application request on tab 2 in your binders. Stephanie Rubio is opening a new salon. It's called Rubio Salon, I believe. Salon Rubio. She is actually doing a ribbon cutting this afternoon through the chamber. And so she has spoken with Russ a little while back, and you'll see the renderings on a couple of pages of her sign. The sign that's going to go on the building, I believe, is going to be a LED lit, and the standing sign that you can see from the double-sided will be, of course, double-sided, and yes, the double-sided metal sign. And so the total cost, she's only requesting funds for a sign, no painting. She's already done all the painting and outside work herself. Total cost of the two signs is $3,759, and her grant request therefore will be $1,879.50. She'll be offering services such as facials and, of course, hair and manicures and pedicures.
One of the sweetest ladies you would ever want
Yes.
to visit with.
She makes you giggle because she's so sweet.
And her sister is one of the new
Yes.
doctors also here in
Lee-
town.
Lee- is it Lee? Dr. Lee?
Leva
Leva.
Rubio. Leva
Yeah.
Rubio.
Okay.
And just something else, I mean, pat yourself on the back because the Palomino Motel is no longer there.
Mhm.
This is right next door to all that stuff, and it looks so much better coming up over top that hill.
That's good.
She did make a comment that they were actually working on her building as they were knocking down the Palomino, and it was, she said it did get pretty noisy at times. Very sweet.
Small price to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I move approval of this facade improvement grant.
I'll second it.
Thank you. It's moved and seconded to approve the facade improvement grant for Salon Rubio at 1408 East Broadway Street. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. And one abstention. And so the ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Okay, we've gotten through the action items, so I guess we're ready for Misha's report.
I don't have a whole lot. I just kind of wanted to see going forward with our board meetings, how y'all would like to meet since all the, I guess, mandates are lifted. by the governor, and it makes it really difficult sometimes if we all, or if we choose half of us to meet virtually and half of us to meet in person. It kind of makes the logistics of technology really difficult to work with. And so, and if y'all wanted to allow in-person attendance from the public, or
I'd like to suggest that we at least do one more month of this. Gets us through all the spring break and all those things in case there's any spiking. And then at our next meeting, be able to decide what we do possibly for the May meeting.
just kind of be thinking about that, how y'all want to handle meetings going forward.
Sounds good.
I guess I will update y'all on the website. It is up and running, but I still have quite a few pages to add to it. And so if y'all would like to, I'll probably do a presentation next month over kind of our new website. And we're still working out kinks and bugs and getting all of our other pages added. So.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Now, I've got a few things to talk about. One is Connected Nation, and Connected Nation is part of our Connected Texas, part of Connected Nation. We actually, through a recommendation from another group, are one of 9 cities in the state of Texas working with the Dallas Feds and Magellan Advisors on a possibility of having a statewide group help us on the connectivity of our communities, doing studies, doing mapping, doing all the things. They're going to pick 4 towns out of the 9 that they've narrowed it down to. We did an interview last week. I think we've got a pretty good chance, and part of that is that the Big Country Manufacturing Association that Thomas Taylor and Jeff Grimlin and I are all part of is also being funded by the Dallas Feds, and they really like what our organization has done. So we think that that's going to carry over and give us a leg up. But we should probably know in the next week to 2 weeks on whether or not we get chosen as one of the 4. And one of the things that we've looked at when we go back to mapping is our connectivity is pretty good inside city limits. You get outside city limits, it gets really tough. And if we're going to try, help with our housing, help with our jobs, help with all that stuff, and have the big cities move back to the rural areas, we have to have better connectivity to make that happen, because some of those jobs will be jobs from at home. So we're hoping that we get chosen to be a part of that, so they can help us at least put together a plan of how we move forward. So as soon as we know one way or the other, I'll let everybody know on that.
So Ken, I'm sorry, I don't mean, are you
No.
talking, when you say connectivity, are you talking about broadband
Yes,
internet?
broadband.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think at Lake Sweetwater, they're getting fiber.
Yes, they're actually
So-
through Taylor Electric.
Through Taylor
And
Electric, so
that's
that's
what
good.
they're starting to see is a lot of your co-ops are starting to offer that. And I know Taylor's going to offer it to their clients first. And then after they get on that, then they'll start offering it to the open market. But it's going to be a while before they get to that point.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting, because when you look at it, we've got Big Country Electric that comes down from the north to I-20. We have Taylor that goes from the south to I-20. So
Okay.
hopefully we'll get covered by between both of them at some point in time.
Mhm.
Update on Icy Breeze. We normally would have had this at the last meeting, but when they turned in the report, we requested additional information just to verify everything. Their 2020 gross sales was $1,153,585.22, and then when we backed off shipping and sales tax, dropped it down to $1,106,845, and their target was 1.5 million. Be quite honest, in the COVID system, that really affected them dramatically early on. They did recover fairly quick. But last year, their sales was 918,000. So they did even surpass last year's in a COVID market. They also had a total of 16,373 hours, and dividing that by our 2080 that we normally do gave them 7.87 FTEs. I did verify every house location like we have in the past. And that rounds down, so that rounds down to 7 FTEs. So between the two incentives, they would be eligible to get $36,000 for this go round.
46, right?
36.
Okay.
They get 21,000 for the FTEs, and they get 15
Oh, it's not.
because
It says
remember that
25,000
we
per year.
changed that to where they got percentages of. So they ended up with 73% of the target. So they get that pay based on that 73%.
Okay. Oh, because their target was not 1 million for this year.
Pardon?
Their target was not 1 million for this year.
No, it was actually 1.5.
Ah,
It
okay.
was a 1 million for last year. And we've had some
Sorry,
really
I
good
don't know why I felt like I
conversations,
had
and
to do the math. It's ridiculous.
their business model and stuff has completely changed. When they went through all this stuff, they used to do a lot of in place, face-to-face, one-on-one type marketing. They'd go to Ace Hardware where they had a big regional deal, and they're not doing that anymore. They actually found a company out of Dallas that is doing more of social media marketing. And when they went to that, their sales started dramatically increasing.
Wow.
Late last summer and fall. They've also redesigned their coolers completely. It no longer looks like a normal igloo cooler. And that was one of the things that they talked about, is that, their cooler, as nice as it was, looked like a $40 igloo cooler.
Mhm.
And now what they've done, it looks more like
Yeti.
what?
A Yeti.
Yeti. It looks a lot like a Yeti. It's a lot harder. Misha actually helped them with the city's help of disposing of almost 3 semi-loads of plastic components that they got rid of because it's the old style and they went with the new style.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's been kind of interesting watching them grow and still doing quite well. They're actually in discussion now of if it takes off like they think, of adding their 3rd building on that piece of property, because what they need is warehouse space. And
That's amazing.
the way he explained it to me, he said, when I order all my parts, it's like every part has a skid. So I've got 5 skids that at the end of the day, when they're assembled, I have 1 skid worth of that, but I have to have some place to put all those parts until the assembly process gets put together. So they're looking at the possibility of just putting one long building alongside of their other 2.
And these are new owners, correct?
No, it's the
No,
same
okay,
owners.
so it didn't-
It's
It did, I thought, because you were so familiar with it also.
yeah, they
Okay.
sold out, and then the new owners
Got it back.
chose that they didn't like it, and so John bought it back.
Got it back.
Yep.
Okay, well, it sounded like it was the same owner, so, but I was, all right, thanks, Ken.
You bet.
That's good.
And then GP, of course, each month I'll be sending you updates on that. Hopefully, if you had a chance to open the email, the one I think I sent maybe on Friday that had the drone shots, and each month we get one from Sage and send to them, and then their construction people sends one to the city and us, just kind of give updates on that. So it's looks like it's going quite well, and they're pretty excited about it, and it's still a lot of work going on out there. A
So
lot
I've
of
had
work.
questions about
Uh-huh.
1856 being closed.
It will be eventually. I don't know if that we've heard a date.
Not
I don't-
permanently, though? or-
No.
Okay.
It could be they thought around 6 months, because what they've got to do, I'll tell you what, I'm a visual person. If you don't mind, I'm going to show you on this. Interstate 20 is here, and 1856 is here. This right now, if you look at a side view, it comes down and kind of does this. Well, they've actually got to drop that further down because the railroad will be coming across from the west side to the east side of the new place. And then there's also water and electric and a gas line and a lot of other things that are right there together. So when they get done, they're going to have to close that off, probably from the top of the hill down to here, and then repair all that. But then they're also putting in a tunnel underneath of 1856 that the golf carts for the company will be able to go from one side to the other.
Wow.
Ken, can you tell if they're on target as far as their timeline is concerned?
They haven't said that they're not, and they would tell me that because they've really been pushing. From what we understand, they're still targeting at probably opening third or fourth quarter of 22. Somebody, and it may have been, I don't remember if you were telling me, Russ, but somebody said they were already hearing ads on looking for employees. So
Have you seen the commercial they produced?
I have not.
No.
It was shown at the focus groups,
Oh, okay.
and it was movie trailer quality.
Oh, my.
It was really exciting to watch. And I've searched for it online. I can't find it, but
Did he show it on YouTube or are you sure?
I just went through Google. It might be on YouTube.
Misha worked with that group that worked on the focus group. We'll ask them if they could send that to us. And they're also looking to do kind of a groundbreaking, but it's going to be very limited. GP is still very concerned about the virus. In fact, they were going to do some sponsorships at the roundup and have pulled all that because they don't want to be associated with a large event in these times. So I think the early June, they're looking at doing some kind of a groundbreaking. I think they said, last I heard, it'll be limited to like 30, 32 people. We've sent them Michael Harbor as a possible photographer. I don't know if you've seen any of Michael's stuff. He does amazing stuff, and they've already talked to him. So what they want him to do is do a progression of how the construction is going along with the drone shots and then use those pictures down the line. So that's pretty exciting. I think that's all I have in this part.
Ken, can I ask you a couple of questions?
Yes.
So are there any other incentive obligations that we need to get updated on, like Cape and Sun or anything like that? Or you bring them to us as
Yes, yeah.
contracts?
Yeah, Cape and Sun it's about,
I just picked them, but
No,
I mean,
that's
not
fine.
any of these.
they're about 2/3 of their way through. Pretty much everybody else is online. The Jose,
Did he get his
it-
slab poured by the end? of
no, he
February?
ran a little behind, but with the weather, all
Oh,
that
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
got stopped.
Right, right.
He texted me a little bit ago saying that he plans on pouring this Thursday. He's got it lined up for.
Great.
So that's going well. Gary was supposed to, last we heard, try to start 3 houses in April. So we'll see how that goes.
Good.
And then a property down on Haley Street and Broadway. Boy, it's like a bunch of ants that went down there. They're working on that property really quickly.
Good.
We have the downtown Turnbows. They've kind of got a bunch of it done and then haven't finished up yet, but they're still within their timeline. Miles is within their timeline. There's a little question on Miles, and we went back and pulled up the quotes on it and stuff, and it, on whether that was going to be a true copper roof or a copper color, and the way it was actually listed, we probably misrepresented it. It's actually a
10.
copper tin listed in the deal. And then Misha has been in contact with a group out of San Angelo. No, it's Lubbock.
It was San Angelo.
Of San Angelo, that actually from a news story wants to talk to us about our facade grant improvement.
Great.
They've heard about it and seen it on Facebook and would like to do a news story on that. So we think that's
They were really interested in all of our beautification efforts that we've kind of partnered with the city on some demolition and asked a lot of questions about that. And I sent her a copy of our facade application and
Good.
went over some of those guidelines, and they're really interested.
And the future demolition projects are we're just waiting to kind of see what the city brings to us next. And
As far as I know, the ones that we have approved initial inspection on, which I believe was $600, those actually went to council last month. Didn't we bring a group last month? And either some of them were given 90 days to the owners
Okay.
to kind of, I guess, take action and repair, and then the other ones were, I believe, the council voted to.
I noticed I'm working on that one that we gave a 90-day extension to. They're working on it this week.
great.
I got a question real quick.
Good.
Dr. Pete, you said were you in on the focus groups for the GP?
Yeah.
What, can you elaborate a little bit?
The one that I was in, it kind of started out as just a general discussion of who are the good corporate citizens in Sweetwater and Joseph, you'll be glad to know that First Financial was the first one named. And then it went on from Walmart and then USG, and it kind of stopped there. And well, what about Georgia Pacific? And it turns out it was a focus group put together so that GP could get some ideas on how to be a better corporate partner here. And, we discussed a lot of the charities in town, the advocacy center and things like that. And I threw in a plug for a walking park and a skateboard park. And I don't know how far that would get, but at least it's on their list. So, and we all got $50 Whataburger gift cards for participation and eating a lot of hamburgers.
And then we had two groups. Misha was a part of that, kind of putting together and sending out names. And honestly, Dr. Peak probably shouldn't have got it. They didn't really want anybody that was real knowledgeable about all the activities in our community. They wanted, John Q. Public to kind of be, when they asked that question, have you heard of them? And, when we first met GP some 2 years ago, I probably was a little rude the way I replied, but they said, can you tell me what GP does in Sweetwater? And I said, who's GP? And I think it caught them off guard, but then we went on to say, that's been the issue. It's out there, but they don't participate in anything in our community of any way. Most of their top leadership lives in another place. And they took that seriously, and that they need to do a better job of that. So we
But I do know
appreciate
that their current plant manager is a Sweetwater resident, is what I was told at that meeting. By one of the participants, not the people putting on the focus group.
Well, he must have just moved here because he was living in Abilene.
Okay. Well, it was a GP employee that told me that.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so our next, anybody have any questions for Ken? Thank you, Ken.
Yes, ma'am.
So the next thing we need to talk about is the job description for the next municipal MDD director, executive position. So if you'll pass those down to those for you.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have 4 of these, so. Here you go. So when we met before, we talked about what we were going to ask Jeff to post. And so this is what we looked at and talked about. And the only thing I've added whenever, with anybody's comments was when on the second page where it says must live in the municipal development district. Russ suggested that we say once hired. So it's a little bit clearer about, about that. So again, this is not, doesn't have to be our final. This is just what we're looking at right now. So the thing we need to talk about or decide, we had talked about whether to put a salary range under salary or to say competitive salary commensurate with qualifications and experience. So I got a comment back that wanted to use the competitive salary commensurate with qualifications and experience. And then David sent this packet from Ennis, City of Ennis, for they're looking for a director. And that's the terminology that they use for their salary. So we need to decide what y'all want to do. Do you want to put the salary range in dollars on there, or do you want to use that verbiage? You can see on Ennis's, it's on their last, is it? Yeah, their last page of their little packet, which is pretty fancy and nice. I didn't print it out in color, but.
Carolyn, it's been my experience that when you do put a salary on a job description or an offering, those that are interested parties might not consider applying because of the figure. I think it's always best to leave that open, because even though the board did agree that this is the range that we would like to be in, if for some reason we found a 20-year-old or 20-year seasoned veteran EDC director that had all the credentials that might bear a higher salary, it would at least give us the opportunity to do so, as opposed to boxing us in. So my thought has then keeping that commensurate with the experience would be the best protocol.
And you don't think it would keep people from applying because they don't know? what the-
Correct. I
guess-
think it would, in my opinion, it would prompt the application as opposed to potentially dissuade the application. Especially if someone is in the Metroplex applying to come out to the rural.
Right,
areas.
unless they just thought, yeah.
This is the way I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I can see both sides of it, so that's why I'm throwing it out at y'all.
No, I agree with Jessica.
Okay,
Me too.
all righty. Dr. P?
Well, I just have concerns about if someone not applying because they're afraid, well, this little West Texas town
That's
can't
kind of what I'm
afford me.
thinking too.
but-
yeah.
I would
What do I know?
certainly defer to Joseph. I think he's probably hired a few more
I
people.
think if they did their homework, though, they would realize the potential of the job here.
Well, we mentioned the word competitive
Okay.
salary, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, competitive salary.
Okay, then,
Covers it.
so then if y'all, this really is a great packet. Now, I don't know if y'all want to look at this. I'm sure Russ could come up with something like this for us. If y'all think it's, I mean, it's nice and it's got, and there are some different, I don't know. I looked at it and I mean, the things are worded really, really well, but we can change things up. We can use this. If y'all want to make changes to it, just let me know. If not, this will be ready to go to Jeff, and the plan is for him to post it at the sites that Ken has recommended to us. And then we will use the City of Sweetwater application, and there's a link to that. And so the applicants have to fill out a City of Sweetwater employee application. And then, and Jeff was going to get an email address specific for this. And so the applications will all be handled electronically. They'll go straight to Jeff. And then he will set up a Google Drive that we can all look at. And then we can meet back and look at, interviewing and that type of thing. David, you can jump in anytime. Help us. What do we need to do?
I think
Anything?
there's a lot of good in here. What I did notice was at the top of page 2 of the posting.
Uh-huh.
Progressively responsible experience of 5 to 7 years in economic and community development is preferred.
Mhm.
I would land on a specific number, maybe a minimum of 5 years or a minimum of 7 years. That's really all I noticed. I think the rest of it is excellent.
So maybe just scratch out 2 7 years. What do y'all think?
Just 5 years.
Okay,
I'm fine with that.
does that sound all right?
Yes, ma'am, it does. Thank you.
That whole requirement's kind of fungible though, because it still includes the term.
Is preferred.
David, was this available as an online?
Yes,
Did they mail it out or?
Oh,
They'll put it on their, SGR will put it on their website.
Okay.
And they'll disperse it from there, they'll put on LinkedIn and
Okay.
Instagram and those kinds of things. We might also want to think about the way the Ennis did on the very last page of their packet. The competitive salary commensurate with qualifications and experience. The city participates in TMRS at a 7% employee deposit rate with a municipal matching ratio of 2 to 1. I don't know if y'all want to include some of the, we're
Well-
including salary, but also benefits as well, because that's,
but all of this is the same for us, correct?
it is.
So
Exactly
could I
the same.
just do that?
Mhm.
Is
Exactly
that
the
all right
same.
with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay,
And as someone that went through this 14 years ago, that would have been good because when I applied, there was none of this.
all right, so
Back-
under salary, and I don't have to, I can just change it instead of salary. I'm going to say compensation and benefits. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Yeah. And then I'll just use what we talked about, put all of this, okay. But I won't say NS, I'll say Sweetwater. I say no.
There you go.
Thank you, David. Anything else? What do you think?
I think it's great.
You okay?
Get it on the right track.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
Yes,
Anytime.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Lisa, do you think it would be good to put your latest quarterly updated newsletter attached to this? Kind of like a
Yeah,
showcasing of Sweetwater?
We could link them directly to our website. I have all the past ones on our website, maybe so they could see what's kind of been done in the
Yeah,
past.
that'd be
That's a
great.
good overview
Thank
of
you.
our projects, or I wouldn't mind even sending you a PDF that you could include. It's whatever you like.
A link might be good, right? Since it's all going to be handled electronically. So we could say, like above application link, please see website at something like that. And then you can send me the link to use. Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Carolyn, thank you for pulling all of this together.
No, I'm
Yes,
not very
absolutely.
good at this at all, but anyway.
Excellent job.
Appreciate all the help. So, okay, so we'll include the website.
I move is this an action item?
No, doesn't need to be an act. My understanding is it doesn't need to be an action,
Okay.
action item, so. Just something. Okay, I think we're good to go. We'll give it to Jeff and he'll get it going. Unless anybody has anything else. Okay, thank y'all. So then our next, so are we ready to move on, I guess? Ready to go to closed? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
I move we enter into closed session or executive session.
thank you.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded that we enter into closed session. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. So we are in closed session. We return to regular session. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it. It is 12:04 PM on Monday, March 8th, 2021. We are leaving closed session.
Before we adjourn, I have an announcement that I want to make to all y'all so you don't hear it somewhere else. But Zach and I found out that we're expecting. My due date's actually October 1st, so the day after he leaves. So,
Perfect timing.
perfect timing. It always happens that way, right?
Oh, congratulations. Baby's
you.
always a blessing. We're so happy for you, Misha. That's
and
wonderful news.
As of right now, I just want to let y'all know, I do still fully intend to apply. I have a lot of thinking to do and timeline stuff to work out. My decision as of right now has not changed. So.
Good. That's good. Thank you for keeping us updated. I appreciate it. Wonderful news. We're so
Thank
happy
you.
for you.
Thank you.
We have nothing else to report.
Okay. So I guess we just-
Adjourn.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cherry. Thank you, everybody.
The,